Who's ready for some huge questions to be answered? Some massive golf questions. I put this tweet out this morning and I've chosen some of the best responses, ones that I see over and over again through my life as a golf pro and on the internet. I think it's about time we gave you some answers to the biggies. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell icon if you're already subscribed. If you want loads more free golf videos, they're free. Just subscribe, hit the like button. That's all we ask. That's all we're asking for. Got to be one of the most common questions since the dawn of golf, isn't it? Why can't you play well when you got a card in your hand? Now, what I think's interesting is I only ever really, to be honest with you, have seen golfers when I'm coaching, so students and people I've played with, only playing to and around their potential. Very rarely do I see anyone who actually is like you think, oh, they're loads better than their handicap, because if you dig deep enough you can always find the holes. The holes are always there. I just think golf's one of the most honest games in the world, and for some it's just too honest. It's just like ridiculously too honest for them, and that makes them not understand their abilities and then in turn get frustrated with their achievements. I think it's one of the biggest reasons why people drop out of the game, to be honest. Just got to get some fuel. Right, fueled up. So remember, your handicap is not an average as we stand at the moment in the UK. Your handicap is your potential, and people get this so mixed up. And also remember, I mean, the best in the world, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, their success rate of wins to events played is small. It's not like other sports. The success rate in golf is small, and like I said earlier, I see lots of people getting frustrated with that and dropping out of the game because they come with these egos and don't really, what I used to call, give golf a lot of respect. I used to see it loads in new clubs. So I played at an established club that had been around for X amount of years, and then there was lots of new clubs popping up in Devon, and you get lots of new golfers, which was great. You'd get these young egotistic guys who would come and you would just think, oh yeah, you're not giving golf respect with the way you're talking, some of the things you're saying, like how good you think you will become and this kind of stuff. I think this question will never go away, because I think people just have the wrong idea of what's good or bad. Great question from Chris. How have I managed to shoot a net -6, 64 yesterday, knocking 10 shots from my personal best? This question kind of relates to the first one a little bit as well, which is why I love it so much. And golf is, I mean, there was a book written once, it was discussed if we actually swing the club the right way or not. It talks about how can Jack Nicklaus shoot 72 one day and in the very next day conditions pretty much the same, shoot 82. Hopefully this will explain it a little bit. Right, a variation of shots. That is a 6-iron from a flat lie, indoors, no wind. There's my variation of shots, not bad. There's my variation of strikes. People would call that relatively consistent. Distance varying from, so 163 carry down to, I think 154. Yeah, 154, my shortest. So that's a 9-yard carry discrepancy between shortest and longest. And that's pretty consistent hitting. You know, you get people saying, oh, get an amateur test, then you'll see the drop-offs. There are drop-offs in that, and that's from someone who's relatively consistent. Now, this is before we even take into account any slopes, any winds, any rain. Look at the amount of variations. Going from 29 peak heights down to 27s on the shorter ones. So one of those shots has hit the right distance and stopped a bit quicker than another one that has not hit the right distance, or has, but then it's come in lower and hit a downslope and run on. And there's so many variations. This is a 6-iron, one club. You then got the variations of it in a driver, then the next shot with a 9-iron to a wedge with wind off a slope. You'll hit all day. You'll hit. I remember thinking this loads. All day you'll hit ball slightly above your feet stances on the fairway, just out of luck. Just, you know, you're not trying to hit a part of the fairway. It's not like the fairway slopes consistently one way. Fairway's got humps and bumps. You never get a ball below your feet shot. You get one in a round where the rest of them being flat to slightly above your feet. The very next day you could hit almost identical drives, but the ball's always below your feet more than above. That would affect your scores as much as anything if you're someone who likes the ball above your feet and hates it below your feet. I also remember having on better rounds, say, lots of right to left uphill breaking putts. Not through skill of hitting the ball in that area, because you don't always know what part of the green you need to hit it in, and you're so far away with your approach shot, you know, you're not that accurate to get it there, but that's how the game unfolds. So you're holding a few more putts than you would with your left to right downhill breakers that you're protecting against all the time. So one of the beauties with golf is that it always wins. That's what keeps us coming back, while at the same time drives many away at the same time, similar to the first answer. So you're going to have to accept those variations, and the problem we're all going to have is you're going to have a lot more lows than Chris's brilliant round highs. Just make sure you're enjoying the highs and doing as much as you can to enjoy the lows. Which is what I've chosen to do. I go around the world playing nice golf courses with mates. Makes it a lot of fun. What a great question. Why do we get the yips out of nowhere? I think I'm qualified to answer this one. Now, I don't think it is out of nowhere on most cases. Believe me, there's always going to be exceptions to this rule as well. So I relate it to my chipping. So my chipping, when I used to actually play golf, so what I mean by that is dedicate time and focus and energy to try and improve my skills on a consistent basis. I now play very much just socially. I don't actually get to practice much at all. So where for me it really differs in my skill set is I'm a very different person from then to now, in many ways. And some of them aren't even related to golf. I don't think they're even golf related. I have a very different prescription on my glasses to when I was younger. I didn't start wearing glasses until I was 14, so there was deterioration, and now I have a very different prescription to what I had when I was 14. So my visual perception of the world is changing as I get older. My balance now is nowhere near as good as it would have been when I was 12, when I took up golf, and through those early years of playing. We did surfing on a family holiday recently in California, and all three of my kids stood up first time, just got up and stood up, where for me, definitely didn't stand up first time at all. I am now addicted to surfing. I did get to actually stand up, but it took a very different kind of amount of practice for me. For me, with, say, the surfing analogy, is I had very different feelings and inhibitions compared to them as well. They didn't care if they fell over, where I absolutely did care more if I fell over. I'm not the same person that I used to be, physically, visually, and in my mind, in my priorities and the way I think, and definitely the way I balance and feel the world through my feet. And that must have an effect on certain skills, and for me it shows if I don't practice chipping, that's a doornail, more clubs to test, then the present day me can't chip to the standard I want to chip at. So all that happens is I have to work in different ways. I see it no different to someone like Federer, not comparing myself to Federer. He must have to train different now to when he was younger. Maybe a little less, takes a little longer to recover possibly. Very different desires of where he might want to spend that spare time that he would take practicing. As a family man as well as a world-class athlete, we change. So I don't think it comes on all of a sudden. I actually think, get up. Each year's in the making, and it affects us all differently, and it affects different skills differently. I wouldn't say my driving has changed at all over the years. It stayed relatively consistent, but the feel shots, the imagination shots, certainly when it comes to a lofted club, definitely have changed. But I think that's years in the making, and I can still battle it by putting more time in to practice it. Finding that time is a different question. Mark Evans asks, why is golf gear so expensive? Do all new drivers really need to be over £400? This definitely is a reoccurring common question. Look, I've got a website up here. Good old James Langmead, my old boss. So let's click on drivers here. So we've got Titleist at the top, all over £400, all four models. Then we go to Ben Ross. We go under £200, three different models. Callaway, 188, then up over £400, then a 329, so similar to the comment. Homner, over £500. McGregor, way under 150. We've got some kids ones, which will be cheaper. Mizuno, below the 400, but up there. Ping, just below the 400 and a bit cheaper. TaylorMade, over and under 400. And then we've got a Masters under £40 driver. So what's the big difference between those drivers? And let's just think this through. And I'm not defending any of these companies. You just buy within your budgets or not. But when people say why a driver's so expensive, I agree they're really expensive. But only the ones that you desire, possibly. Because there's plenty on there that you could get that are cheaper. But why do you not want those ones? Well, that's a lot of what the money goes into. Making a product desirable, for any of you who've worked in marketing or have a company with a product yourself, is one of the hardest, biggest challenges that you're always trying to push forward. If we take something like let's go to the McGregor driver, okay? It looks like it's got a port on the bottom, it's got changeable necks, it's probably got other tech in there, featured extended sweet spot, ultra thin face design, premium components, lightweight graphite shaft, premium soft compound grip, and a head cover. So they didn't invent slots or develop them. They didn't invent different face thicknesses. They're following. So if you want to keep your product relevant, keep your product desirable, like the message itself actually states, why are the ones that you're desiring and near 400 and over, when there's plenty that aren't, is where all the cost comes. The cheaper ones wouldn't have the changeable necks and have the innovations and know how to make that work unless they just take from what these bigger companies are doing, and they have to have a sustainable business model. I think it's a shame that they're expensive, but I think it is what it is. I've said this before in many other videos. I've done a video using a box set that cost 100 quid, and I enjoy golf as much as if I used my custom fit expensive set of Titleist that I will use now. I know if I'm doing a hobby and I want to be serious about my hobby, which I've done for all my years, I have nice stuff to the best that I can afford. I haven't always had these two guitars. I've had £30 guitars. I've worked up to these, but it didn't ever stop me playing. So I think it's an interesting one. Buy what suits you. Yes, it is expensive. Buy what you can afford. There is plenty of options inside and outside of that price bracket. But if you want innovation, you want developments, you want products to try and improve and help and develop their understandings of what golfers need and want, then there's going to be companies that are pushing those boundaries, and that costs money to make that R&D, and then to get that tech understood and into the market and desirable, always going to cost money. Maybe you need to change the barometer of your desires. Always should be there to try and fit what you can afford. And then for me personally, what always works is then to have aspirations of where I want to go. It just makes me work harder. Oh, this is a hot potato, this one. Let's hear your comments. No, it's totally not. Everyone gets it. A great question, and one I spent a lot of time thinking about when I was a kid. I remember asking it to my golf pro. It's to do, I think, well, what I was told. I've never really then researched it from there on, because I've got those marks from draws and fades. So the tee going what looks like on the bottom from the middle then to the outside, which would suggest that you're coming across the ball, is what they're thinking. It's the way the tee gets squished out from underneath the club. So I think you find if you hit them much more in the heel, and I mean a lot in the heel, because if you look at the camber of your club, to get the other side of the curvature, I think you would have to be way out in the heel, and it might still even go out that way. But it's the way the tee is thrown out as you hit it and squished under the club, as I understand it. If anyone knows an exact answer, post in the comments, but that's how I understand it. And I hit draws with those tee marks and fades, so it doesn't mean it's the reason why you're a slicer or a fader. If you want to find that out, just book a lesson. I'll tell you straight away. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. What's the biggest unanswered golf questions in your mind? If there's some good ones in the comments, we'll do another one of these videos if you like it. You can tell me if you like it by hitting that thumbs up button. Also the subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. If you are subscribed, hit the bell icon, then you'll get notifications, because that's the whole point of being subscribed. Lots of people are subscribed, don't realise they've not got the bell on, and then I won't get your notifications feed, then you'll be missing videos. Why do you want to miss free golf videos? They're great, aren't they? See you all later. Thanks for watching.